Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, I am going to update you on my Napoleonic project. I have an American War of Independence project, a Napoleonic project, an Ancients project, and a World War II project. And I've been focusing on the World War II project because I want to get it finished in time for the convention in August. Now, once everything is finished with that, the other projects I'm gonna bleed over into the other projects. But you can't really see this right here, but you know that my big World War II project is with a game called Battle Group. Okay. Battle Group is it's a man-to-man World War II game, but there's a lot of concepts and philosophy, or concepts, I guess is the word I'm looking for, in that rule set that I really like. I really like Battle Group. I'm going to have to tell you, as a World War II set of rules, I really like it. Now, American War of Independence, I found a set of rules called Land of the Free. Now, Land of the Free is a really good set of rules. I like it for American War of Independence, and it has a lot of good concepts in it. And I thought, as you might know, or may not know, but if you don't know, I'm writing my own set of rules for Napoleonics. I thought about calling it like Plume and Saber, or, you know, Pom-Pom and Plume, or something like that, right? Is what I plan to call it. I'm going to name it after the plume. Okay, so I started these rules a couple of months back, and bunch of months back, and I have slowly, you know, every now and then I'll get a flash of genius in my head, and I'll say, oh, yeah, definitely. Then I'll go to the rules, I'll pull it up, and I'll type in whatever I need to type in, and then it'll sit. And then I'll just go about my business, and then when I get a new idea, I'll go, ooh, that'll work in my Napoleonic. Let me go to blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's going to be slow going. I am doing that deliberately. I'm kind of writing the rules slowly, letting it gestate, and letting me sleep on it and think about why I'm picking certain rules and why I'm doing it a certain way. And I'm glad I'm doing it this way, because I just had an epiphany. Because when I started writing those rules, I had this idea that I would make it a battalion scale game where the maneuver element, the clump of figures on the table, will be a battalion. So not a brigade, a battalion. And so like maybe 4 or 6 battalions would make a brigade. And then I would have a command stand, a leadership figure as the brigade commander. Boom. And that would be a brigade. A lot like Black Powder. Black Powder does it exactly that same way. But I'm going to do it on a 15 millimeter scale. So battlefields can be bigger. I can put more brigades on the table. So I was thinking I would still want to be able to do all of Waterloo in this set of rules. I don't want to do a set of rules that prevents me from doing a battle, right? And I pick Waterloo because it's large. It's a large battle. It's one of the larger battles, right? It's got many core on the table. And I would want these rules to be able to accommodate that without bogging it down. And a battalion level game is not conducive to multiple core on a table. I know this. So I'm trying to bridge the gap in my rules. And this is another reason why I'm kind of struggling. I'm trying to bridge the gap between a grand tactical game like Napoleon's Battles or Et Sans Resultants, or something that has massive armies on the table, versus Black Powder or Land of the Free, which has very small units on the table. Quatre Bras, which would be considered a very tiny battle in the Napoleonic period, is a huge battle in Black Powder. So I want to get, but then that's battalion scale, right? But that's also 28 millimeter. So that's part of the problem, is the scale of the figures are too big to do a big battle. I've done it at conventions and at home, but it's Black Powder just isn't conducive to that. So I've struggled with, do I really want to do battalions, or do I want to do brigades like Napoleon's Battles? Because Napoleon's Battles does the entire Battle of Waterloo in an afternoon. You can do the entire Battle of Waterloo moving around brigades of troops. But I think moving brigades as a unit takes away from the strategy or tactics of the Napoleonic period. You basically are, so Napoleon's Battles, I feel, even though it's a grand tactical game, it feels like I'm playing a board game. And then when you go to the other end of the spectrum, you look at Black Powder, it feels like I'm playing a man-to-man game. I know I'm not, but it just feels like that. I want something in between, right? I want something in between. So what does that mean? Well, that means I probably will not be able to do the entire Battle of Waterloo on a table. It might require 2 tables. So I might need to split Waterloo in half, right? Maybe. I don't know. But that's also thinking, I don't know, with 15 millimeter, I might be able to do it. But I want to do it in battalion size. Because there is no, I mean, I could do half brigades. I don't know what that would mean. But I'm thinking battalion. Because battalion scale, Black Powder. Brigade scale, Napoleon's Battles. What is in the middle? There's nothing in the middle. That's where I want to be. I want to make a set of rules that identifies that every battalion has their own unique qualities, uniforms, look, size, number of men, etc. in those battalions. But I also want speed of play like a brigade game. So this is what I came up with. And this has changed, but this is what I came up with. We'll go with figures on bases, grouped together in battalions, multiple battalions will be a brigade with a command figure, just like Black Powder. But now, how do we get these guys to work or fight? And how do you speed up a game? That's another question. There's a couple of different ways you can speed up the game. You can make the game so simple that it just flows. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what Napoleon's Battles is. Napoleon's Battles, on a scale of 1 to 10 on difficulty, I would say it's around a 3, maybe a 4. Easy to grasp, easy to understand. Yes, there are a million charts, but that's okay, because you only use your whatever forces you have on the table. That's really the only chart you use. Even though you got like 20 other charts, those are still in the box. So really it's super easy. The turn order is like the most complicated thing ever created in Napoleon's Battles. It's really unnecessary, right? Okay. There are a lot of things in Napoleon's Battles I love, but that's not one of them. Okay, so you can make the game, that's one of the two ways. You can make the game so easy that you fly through your units and the turn passes to your opponent. Or you can make the game not easy, but not, like a normal easiness. I don't know if that would, like maybe a 4 or 5 easiness, because I don't want my game to be a 9. No, I don't want it to be Empire. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be a very simple game. So a way you can speed the game up without making the game too easy is to limit what a player can do with their army. If you tell them, hey, you get to move one guy, and he moves his one guy, turn passes over. That is too fast, right? So now I have to figure out a way to go from and this is my philosophy from the beginning. How do I get my armies to function, but also limit the players on how many units they get to move? And I stole this from Land of the Free. I'm going to have to admit it. It's a command die roll. You roll dice, and there's a lot. What is it? Chef de Battalion, I think they do the same thing, where they have ADPs or something. They call it aide de camp, ADCs. They roll dice, and it determines how many actions you get. Black Powder is too roll heavy. And what I mean by that is I pick a unit, I roll dice. If I succeed, it tells me how far I get to move. I have to tell you what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to explain my entire turn. I roll the dice. I go to the next unit. I tell you what I'm going to do with this guy and this unit or this group of units. Then I roll a dice and see what I do. Then I go to the next unit, and that just takes forever. It takes forever. Where in Land of the Free and some other games, which we're going to get to in a minute, you roll dice, and that tells you right there on the die how many units you get to move. I like the speed of that. Speed is important. Okay, so you get that. Boom. Now, I understand there are players out there that love rolling dice. If they got a chance to roll 100 dice at once, they would love that. Come on, guys. Grow up. Okay, so you roll a couple of dice, get your number of units. You just now if you roll less than the units you have on the table, now you have to pick and choose strategically, mentally, cognitively, which units you're going to activate, which ones you're going to move, and which ones are going to perform what. And it's going to be very easy if you've got units in reserve and you mean them to stay in reserve. You just don't give them orders. You give the guys that need to move and shoot orders. What does that mean? What does that mean? What's the word I'm looking for? Immersively. What does that mean? Well, that means that commander is only able to focus his attention on a certain amount of things. He doesn't know everything on the battlefield. He just knows those guys he's telling to move. He's sending dispatches saying, move that battalion. Get that, deploy skirmishers over there, or get that gun limbered up, or whatever he's doing. He can only send so many dispatches. That simulates his runners running out and coming back, running out and coming back, that's what the die roll is representing. That turn is how many dispatches he can send out to his units. That's how I'm looking at it, right? And because I'm playing on a grander scale, we don't need to model those little dispatch runners going back and forth. That's what the die roll's for. Now, there are some units, some armies that have better command and control than other armies. So they will get bonuses to their die rolls, or they'll get more dice, or whatever. I haven't figured that out. Probably bonuses to die rolls. Okay, and that's the way I thought about it forever. And then I said, okay, depending on the commander, some commanders are better than others, able to multitask better than others, so maybe they'll get a plus on their die roll. Because that basically says that, like, just hypothetically, let's say you only roll one die for your brigade, which seems like a really good number for me. One die for a brigade. And the commander gets a +1. Well, that means at a minimum, you're always getting 2 units to move. You could get 7, And then the commander, I think, he doesn't, if I decide to give the commander abilities like rally or I guess like rally, would be the only ability I could give a commander. Take command, or I'm not really sure what other abilities I can give a commander. But if I give a commander certain abilities, which I haven't gotten to yet, but if I do, then I'm going to require he take one of those orders, because not only is he issuing orders to his different battalions, but he's telling his guys here, hey, do this, pack up your bags, we're leaving, or whatever. That was my idea, right? My idea was a number of figures forms a base, a number of bases forms a battalion, a number of battalions form a brigade, right? And then those brigades have a commander in it as a central figure, right? And I also figured that the commander has a command range, which basically means if you're out of his range, which is allowed and is perfectly fine. If you want to put a battalion over there and a battalion over there, that's fine. But if they're too far away from you, then they cannot be given an order when you roll your die to see how many orders you get. You can only issue orders to a number of figures within your command range. And I considered, all of this is consideration. Nothing is set in stone just yet. The quality of the runners and the quality of the commander gives you a bigger range. Okay. Okay, and that's pretty much where I had stopped writing my rules. I haven't really gotten into how I want to shoot and do damage, how I want to do morale, or how I want to do any of that, right? And then I put that on the shelf and I let it stew for a while. And then I jumped into this World War II project, as you all know. Here comes the update to my Napoleonic update. I found a set of rules called Battle Group, right? Okay, I got it over here. Battle Group, this is a quick reference table. Battle Group's World War II man-to-man game. Okay, great. I didn't really know what to expect. So I ordered it, I got it in, I started reading the rules, started to dig it. It's some good concepts, really like it. It's really good, you know, and the more and more I read it, and the more I absorb the rules, I'm like, wow, that's a really good concept. Wow. And then I look at it, I said, oh, so depending on your force size, you know, platoon, company, battalion, whatever, you get a number of dice for orders. Sounds familiar. And then I said, okay, that sounds good. I know they didn't copy from me. They did not copy from me. That's been out for many, many years, but I had never played. So our brain waves were linked or something. So I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea. You know, roll a bunch of dice, issue your orders to your men. Then they have a list of orders that you're allowed to give, like move or shoot or move and shoot, etc. And then I'm like, that's interesting. Then they got experience levels like inexperienced, regular, veteran, elite. Okay, nice. Observation and anti-tank and indirect fire, artillery and suppressive fire and, you know, all that good stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then just a couple of days ago, I had an epiphany. I said, holy crap. Battle Group could easily be converted to my set of rules, right? The order idea is already there, ingrained in that set of rules and mine. I could blend them and, you know, take some things I like from the Battle Group rules and incorporate those orders and issuing orders into my rules with some modifications for commanders and the size of the game. It's not man-to-man. Nationality and stuff like that. Because they don't really care about nationality in Battle Group. Everybody is a human being, so everybody's got the same number of dice. Now, they give you bonuses depending on how many officers. So, like if you've got 3 officers, you get a +3 on the die roll. Where I'm not going to do that because I know battalions all have officers in them, and the senior officer has an officer in it, obviously, a bunch of officers probably. So that's not the role. I'm going to base it on either the nationality giving you a bonus or the commander itself, or both. The commander himself giving you a bonus to the die roll. That's how I'm going to do the Napoleonic rules. And then I thought about it. Okay, cover saves. In that game, when you get shot, you get a cover save. Do I like the idea of cover saves? Not really. Cover saves, to me, can be incorporated into the 2-hit die roll. I don't like shooting at something, hitting it, and then making your opponent make a cover save to prevent the hit, when I could just as easily take in that cover save and put it in the to hit roll. In World War II, it kind of works on a man-to-man level. Okay, it works. In Napoleonics, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to modify the damage to hit roll. Is there going to be an effect? Like, I roll to hit. If I hit, do I roll to effect? No. But what I'm going to do is something like black powder, is that you roll to hit, and then based on how good you hit, like maybe if you roll a 6, will determine if people die or not. I want there to be more pinning than killing. I'll figure that out. But basically, if you can hit on a 5 or a 6, I might go the 5 and 6 is only a pin. But if you can hit on like a 4, 5, and a 6, then the 4 and the 5 might be a pin, and then the 6 might be a kill. But then if it goes down to like 2 or better, I still might go 2 through 5 pin, 6 kill. But I might go 5 and 6 as a kill. So it just depends on how I want to figure out my firepower versus the hit. Plus, there might be a plus and minus on the to hit roll. The to hit roll is the damage roll. I want it to be one roll. Why? Because remember, I'm trying to speed the game up, because I want to be able to do an entire battle in an afternoon. So I don't want to go, okay, I've got to roll to see if I see you. I got to roll to see if I can hit you. I got to roll to hit you. I've got to roll to see what kind of damage I do when I hit you. Now you've got to roll to see if you can prevent that damage. That's way too many rolls. Spotting, not even going to do it. Because by the time you're shooting at the short range that muskets are shooting, at the time you're shooting, you're identifying who the friend and foe is. Artillery. Should it roll to observe friend and foe? No. Because by the time an artillery gun is shooting, it can see who you are. So there's not going to, and now I understand observation from like that set of rules denotes like smoke on the battlefield, rolls in terrain, it might be hard to see them before you shoot them, etc., etc. Taking that out, I'm just going to shoot. Now, at the longer ranges, it's going to be less and less effective, and that is because of the roll in the terrain or the fog of smoke or battlefield or, confusion of the battlefield. So, but the closer you get, the more deadly it's going to be. Shooting for artillery. For infantry, whatever. You're not going to be shooting very far. In battle group, I'm gonna crib quite a bit from battle group. In battle group, they've got this test to be able to close into close combat. You have to roll based on your experience level to close the gap. I like that. I like that rule because even in the Napoleonic period, there were units that were hesitant to close in to close combat. There are units like militia that would not ever want to close into close combat. If they're in cover behind their ditch, they don't want to get out there and go charge you and stab you. So they're going to just stay there and shoot. Where if they're advancing across the field, they're going to stop and shoot. They're not going to want to close in. So there's going to be an experience test, I think. I think that's smart. I think that's a good rule. The formation you're in will modify that rule. So like if you're in an attack column, I think you should get a bonus to charge, but maybe suffer in the hand-to-hand. In some way. Maybe only the front rank fights. So if you're in line, you have a lot more guys fighting than if you're in a deep column. But that column allowed you that push because the rear is pushing the front forward. So you get a plus to your charge. Or maybe make it automatic or something. But I think I like that rule from Battle Group. I think I'm going to use it. I'm going to modify it for Napoleonics, but we're going to do that. We're not going to have any observation rules. That's BS. And I am going to incorporate cover saves, but only for real cover, like walls and fences or buildings, you know, trees and hedges. I don't think I'm going to give any cover save for that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to give a cover save for trees because we're talking about a battalion of guys, not just one or two guys hiding behind a tree. Now, there is underbrush and stuff like that, but it doesn't stop a musket. It might be a modifier because it's hard to see your opponent, and I want to incorporate the visibility into the deadliness. So I was going to do that at range. So maybe I will give, not a cover save, but a modifier to hit. Or just maybe give them a cover save. I want to try to take away the cover saves, and I want it to be one roll. Roll, and you know what happened. Not roll, figure it out, roll again, figure it out, roll again. I don't want that. I want run, roll. Oh, look at that. Everybody's dead. That's it. That's all I want. Right? So that's how I'm going to work that. So cover, trees, buildings, all that's going to be worked into that chart. Range is going to be worked into that chart for artillery. Now, I like the move and fire, meaning you can move and shoot with a penalty. I like that. I like the shoot and move, so you can shoot and maybe back up a little bit, or you can shoot and advance. I like that. I like the move twice, not bothering to shoot, just move, move, move. I like that. And I even like the shoot twice. Basically, that's you just standing there, shooting, reloading, shooting. I'm digging it. I think I like that. And understand, and just as a overall gesture, we're looking at maybe multiple minutes. I don't know how many, 10, 15, an hour, 30 minutes, 24 hours. I don't know, per turn. And what that means is one die roll is not one bullet. That's not what it is. The die roll is, first of all, it's going to be a bunch of guys because there's going to be a figure scale, like one figure represents 25 guys. So there's 25 bullets, plus they're reloading, shooting, reloading, shooting. Maybe it's 20 shots. Maybe it's 50 shots. Who knows? And you fire twice. That just means you got a higher volume of fire coming out in that half-hour period. It's not just one shot, like, oh, missed, hit, whatever. No, it's a volley of fire. Okay, now, of course, there's not going to be any anti-tank penetration. Now, suppressing area fire, You don't really do that with Napoleonic. You're always trying to kill them, right? But you do have howitzers and rockets that might, howitzers and rockets are still trying to kill people with explosions. So I'm going to incorporate, or I'm going to mix my direct fire with my suppressive fire all in one chart. So when you roll to hit, you either pin them or kill them. It's one of those deals. Weapons. Pretty much they're all muskets or rifles. Rate of fire is going to be the same for everyone. It's going to be such a minor difference. I'm not going to give anybody a 2 rate of fire when I'm only giving the muskets a 1 rate of fire, because that is twice as much a volume of fire, and I'm not going to give anybody a double. So, unit morale. Yes. Okay, here we go. Last thing. Units are going to have morale, but that's going to be a fixed number, a lot like Napoleon's battles. When you take a certain number of casualties, that battalion is eliminated. There's no need to die roll. There's no if, ands, or buts. But there will be if you take a certain number of casualties in one turn, you will have to roll on the morale table to see if you are pinned, disordered, disrupted. That's what I'm going to call it, disordered. And if you are disordered, you can't do anything, right? You are done. I'm taking a lot from Battle Group. Being honest, it's going to be Battle Group Napoleonics. That's pretty much what it's going to be. But like if your battalion, let's say it's a 24-figure battalion. If you take 12 figures of casualties, the battalion scatters and is eliminated. When a battalion is eliminated, we're going to draw a morale chit from a bag, right? It's going to have a number on it. And that number counts against your army morale. When your army morale reaches a certain value, you've lost the game. The game's over. Now, I'm toying with divisional morale, corps morale, or army morale. I think I'm going to say your force morale. So, because some battles, like Quatre Bras, was like 3 or 4 divisions attacking. But if you, as a player, just want to have a couple of brigades attack your opponent, and you just want to play a divisional level game, then it's divisional morale. But if you're playing a corps, then it winds up being corps morale. And it's going to be a lot larger because you got more divisions. But I might also, because divisions can be broken, so I'm thinking when you draw these battle rating counters, which I'm going to call morale counters or morale chit, when you draw it, it applies to the division that it came from, right? And you've got each of your divisional commanders has his own set of chits. And when they reach a certain number, that division is broken. And I'll come up with some rules for that, where they have to back up, or they can't advance, or something. They can't be issued any orders, maybe. And then as the total builds up, that goes against your force, whatever the force is, corps, army, whatever. When that hits a certain number, the game is lost. That's what I think I'm going to do. Yeah, so I've got a lot to think about. And of course, there's no airstrikes. There's not going to be any indirect artillery. Even rockets, I'm not going to do as indirect artillery or howitzers. That's still going to be I have to see them to shoot them because there's no FOs, you know. There's not going to be any vehicle breakdowns. Even though you could have a vehicle breakdown with like, if they moved a gun, maybe one of the wheels fell off or a limber, but no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, limber, unlimber rules, they work. Issuing orders, it works. Top speed, disembark. Not that infantry are going to be on wagons, but yeah. Recovering. So let's say, I'm going to do it the same way as battle group. Let's say your battalion gets, or your brigade gets attacked, and a bunch of your guys get disordered. Remember, that's going to happen every, or when you are disordered, you cannot do anything. Basically, you can't be issued any orders. You can't shoot. No reaction fire. No. Basically, you're keeping your heads down, or everybody's like wondering, trying to reorganize and get back into line. At the end of the turn, the commander can draw any number of chits that he wants, and whatever, and which is going to count against, I don't know if I want to count that against the corps as a whole or the division, probably the division it came out of. I'll think on that. And let's say he says 2 chits. So he pulls 2 chits. He rolls 2 dice. And that's how many pin markers he gets to remove. I'm liking it. I'm liking my thought process. I think this is really going to help me. And I think I'm going to have a really good set of rules. It's going to be cribbed. I'm taking rules from Land of the Free, Napoleon's Battles, Black Powder, and weirdly enough, a World War II set of rules, Battle Group. Yeah, okay. So give me by the end of next year. I should have it all settled in, army lists, a scenario or 2 written. Next year at NashCon. I'm going to shoot for next year at NashCon. I'm going to run my rules. I'm going to play a game, probably Quatre Bras, because it's a fairly manageable set of rules. I want to do Waterloo, but Quatre Bras will get me the figures ready for Waterloo. I'm going to base them exactly the same way that Land of the Free bases them. 30 by 40 with 3 figures and 3 figures. So 6 figures, 2 ranks on a 30 by 40. Cavalry, I think I'm going to put 3 figures side by side on a 30 by 40. I think. Casualties are going to be by figure. So when you shoot and you do damage, you kill figures. So I'm going to use my casualty markers to mark those. My rings. I don't know if you're familiar with these rings, but I love these. I'm going to start selling these rings on my website, on my eBay store. So if you're interested in getting some casualty rings, I'm going to get them up within the week probably. I do have, you can't see it. It's all on the shelves out of sight. But I've got all my Napoleonic British, all my Napoleonic French. I got my Brunswickers and Nassau and all that. And I got all the 15 millimeter flags that I need. I got everything ready to go. I got the bases. I just have to sit down and paint my heart's content. But I'm kind of waiting until I get my World War II guys squared away, which is pretty much squared away, except for the map board. As soon as I get the map board finished, I think we'll be ready to go for the convention. And if you're interested, next Sunday, this coming Sunday, I'm going to be playing Battle Group. I don't think I'm going to live stream it. I think I'm going to record it and then edit it and upload it after. So it might be a couple hours of a battle report kind of deal. So look for that next Monday. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out and checking out this Napoleonic update. And look forward to seeing more as I kind of flesh out these rules over the course of the next year. And as I get my Napoleonic figures painted, I really need to start hunkering down and start painting those. I thought I was going to do my American War of Independence and get that ready to go for this convention and do a scenario like Freeman's Farm or something. But I think I've changed my mind. I think I'm gonna just hunker down and do a bunch of Napoleonic figures and get ready for this new set of rules that I'm writing. All right. I'll catch you in the next one.